Hey guys, welcome back to Buck's Garage. Once again, we are working on the 94 Mustang. We got some things that we got to do to it today. We're going to be picking up where we left off on the last video. In the last video, we took off all the intake stuff. We took off the upper intake manifold, the throttle body, and got all that stuff done. Now today, what we're going to be working on is getting the fuel rails off and getting the fuel injectors swapped out. I'm gonna take y'all along with me and we'll get her done. All right guys, so let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing you wanna do when you're looking under here and trying to disconnect the fuel rails is there's a little, looks like a little tire stem, there's a little relief valve right here. And what you do is you just get you a rag or whatever, and this is how you release the pressure of the fuel rail, right? So we're just gonna get us a little rag, put us a little rag over it, and then we can get us a little screwdriver and just push down on that. Push it down a couple times, release all the fuel pressure. Now, after that, the next thing we want to do is we want to disconnect the fuel lines, and to do that we got this little tool right here. It's a fuel line and AC line quick disconnect set. I got mine at AutoZone for a couple bucks. But how they work is they open up right here and you just slip them over your fuel line, and once you get them over your fuel line you just push towards the fuel line and you'll feel it pop. And then once you feel it pop, you can just get in here and pull on the fuel line, and it should come out right off, just like that. Then we can get our fuel line, we can tuck it out of the way. Now there should be two different sizes because the return line and the actual fuel line are different sizes. So there's that. There's also, these things have never been taken off on this particular car. So it still has the little fuel line clips that it came with factory. So we're gonna go ahead and peel those off. Now we gotta find which size is the correct size for the smaller fuel line. I'm just gonna go down one size and see if that works. Like I said, you just slip it on there, pull it towards you, you should feel it click. Sometimes it's a little bit of a pain. All right, this one may not be the same size. I'll go down one more size. This one looks like it's going to be too small. Yeah, that was too small. All right, so there's that one. Now there are some little O-rings in here. There's two O-rings that seal off your fuel lines from leaking. And you can replace those, but as long as the ones that you have on there are still pliable, then you'll be all right to keep them on there. All right. So now after you get the fuel lines off, there are 4 5/16 bolts in here that you got to take out in order to actually get the fuel line or the fuel rail up and out of here. So go ahead and got my wrench. I'm gonna go ahead and take these 4 fuel rail bolts out. Now I did, before we started, I did get in here and stuff some paper towels and the inside of the intake manifold. Because you don't want anything falling in there, especially while you're up here working, taking out bolts. You don't want anything to fall down there, because then you just create yourself a lot more work. So you might want to just go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and get these 4 bolts out. Now we can come over here to this other side and get these other 4 out. I think the 2 on the driver's side would be easiest. All right, that one off. Alright, now we got the back one back here. You might be thinking these ain't tight, but I loosened them before we started, just to make it a little bit easier. Alright, so now that all 4 of those are off, we can go ahead and start disconnecting all of the electrical cables that go to these fuel injectors. Now, like I said before, all these connections are quite old, especially if you've never replaced any of them. So when you're taking these things off, you got to be real careful not to break them. That's the last thing you want to do is break those wires off. Then you gotta either rig it up or buy a whole new harness. All right, guys, so we went ahead and we took off the fuel rail sitting right over there in my little parts bucket. So, but anyway, we went ahead and we took off the fuel rail. We took out the fuel injectors and went ahead and got all those out. Inside where the fuel injectors sit, it was pretty dirty in the fuel injector inlets right there. So we went ahead and cleaned those out. And we're gonna do the same thing on the fuel rail. But yeah, the old injectors, I'm pretty sure these are the original ones from '94. They still have the original Ford stamp on all of them. So if they're not the originals, then they were probably replaced at the dealership. But I think the next thing we need to do is I want to get these valve covers off. And valve covers on this car are super easy to take off. It's only 6 bolts on the side, 6 bolts on that side. We'll go ahead and get all 6 bolts off, get the valve covers off, and then we can go ahead and start cleaning them. Because I got some of this Raptor engine enamel paint, and we are going to be painting those so they look real nice when we put them back in. I already got some new gaskets for them and whatnot. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get those off, and we can also, taking those off also gives us it gives us some time to actually look under them, look at all the rockers and whatnot, and see what we're working with under there. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and take off the valve covers, and when we get them off, I'll bring y'all back and we can look at them together. All right, guys, so we went ahead and we got the valve covers off, and we can see all of our rockers right there. Now, they're not the cleanest in the world, but I checked them all on both sides, and neither side, none of the rockers have any play in them. So that's good. So we don't have to worry about that. And also, while I was off camera, I went ahead and I painted them. They're all dry, and I got them just sitting up here. So now they look a lot better. They're not perfect, but you know, they're good enough for who they're for. Also put on the new wheels. Those look real good. Anyway, so yeah, I think the next thing that I'm gonna do in here is I'm gonna get under the car. I'm gonna jack it up, get under the car, and start taking off the exhaust. I know the exhaust manifolds, I know they've been on there since '94, so I know they're gonna be pretty hard to get off. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. But yeah, once I get at least the first two parts of the exhaust off, the cat backs and then the parts that have the cats in them, I'll update y'all and show you what those look like. All right, see you then. Hey guys, we're back. As you can see, I went ahead and got the exhaust manifolds off on both sides. Now the passenger side exhaust manifold was much easier to take off, and the driver's side was just so hard because there's so much stuff over here to fit them around. But yeah, they actually the bolts weren't seized too bad, and I got them all out with pretty much no problem. But yeah, so over here are the little shorty exhaust manifold that was on there, and this is the part of the exhaust that bolts onto the exhaust manifold. And there's this little attachment right here that goes between these mufflers, and that was kind of a pain to take off because it fits onto this little thing right here, and you gotta beat that off. Also, I struggled a tiny bit with one of the bolts because there was a O2 sensor that was right in front of the bolt, so that wasn't fun, but we got it out. And then, like I said, this exhaust manifold was pretty difficult to get out. None of the bolts were seized up or anything like that, but it was pretty difficult to get out because there's so much stuff on the driver's side of the car. So I ended up having to take out the spark plugs that were on that side. I took off the spark plug wires. They're laying right up there, but I took off the spark plug wires and I took out the spark plugs on this side, and I was able to finagle it through there, and I got them out. But as you can see, there's no spark plugs in this side because I took them out to get the exhaust manifold off. Right now, to make any other leeway on this project, the only thing I'm waiting for is my new long tube headers to come in, my long tube headers and my X pipe to go on the back of those headers. I'm waiting for those to come in. Once those come in, I'll be able to snake them in there. Hopefully it'll be easy to snake them in there, but I'll be able to snake those long tube headers in there. And then once I get the long tube headers in there, I can put the brand new X pipe that I bought on the back of those. And my cat backs are actually still underneath the car. I just laid them down there. They're still hooked up to the little holders, the muffler holders up there. So I just let those hang, and they'll be there until we get the new ones on. All right, guys. So this is going to be the end of this episode. It's been a pretty productive day. We took all the exhaust system off, and now the only thing we're waiting on, like I said before, the only thing we're waiting on is to get my my new exhaust stuff in. that should be coming in soon. And when those come in, I'll do another video showing what I got, because I got some BBK long tube headers and a X pipe to go along with them. And then hopefully, I can only hope, that they will bolt on to my catbacks that I've already bought. So there's that. And then other than that, everything that we've taken off so far, we'll just have to put back on. I need to get some little vacuum stuff. I still need to get a new EGR because I broke my EGR in the last episode. So I still need to find one of those. And there's also some vacuum line stuff that I need to get and fix in order to put everything back together. But yeah, once I get the exhaust in, I'll make another video, get those on, and we'll be another step closer to getting this 94 Mustang back on the road and back to where it belongs, ripping along the streets. Yeah, I think that's about it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you got any questions or anything like that, drop it in the comments. And if you like the content, and you like the kind of stuff that I'm doing here on this 94 Mustang, leave a like, subscribe, and you'll be able to see more of my videos. Well, y'all take care. Thanks for tuning in to Buck's Garage, and I'll see you later.